Yes.
Let's run VT. And here we are. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome yet again to another episode of the Lunar Cast. This is episode 3, Duncan, the third one.
Yes,
in
it is.
a trilogy box set. Episode 3. What did we call this one again? You came up with a fantastic title.
Getting twitchy.
Getting twitchy. I love it. Absolutely love you. Do come up with some crackers. How are you, my friend? How's your week been?
It has been fine, very, very exciting. I think next week's going to be more of the same. We've got loads and loads of news coming out, loads and loads of games coming out. It is going to be another great week by the looks of things. And I think Luna may have not grabbed any headlines behind big headlines, but there has been a wee bit of a movement this week, which I think people may be actually a bit shocked. Not shocked is wrong. Shocked is maybe the wrong word. Is they've just made movements out there which hasn't been really found out as yet.
Let me put it a different way. You've had your Sherlock Holmes deerstalker, your bramble pipe, and your fiddling away, looking for all sorts of news items. I have to say, I've been very impressed. You've been popping up almost on a daily basis and going, "Ha-ha, Watson, look what I've discovered." Which, I'm very happy with. It's excellent because it means we've got stuff to talk about this evening, which is very useful. Should we kick it off? Should we go straight into the news?
I think we should do something else first, or just say thanks.
Yes. What would you like to say? Thank you to our patrons. There you go. Look at that. We have a Patreon that is patreon.com/the Lunarcast, and we are absolutely massively grateful to Sean and Lee, our two patrons that are helping us immensely. All that money, believe it or not, is going towards an Amazon Prime subscription so that we can, because we need to have one for what we need to do with the show. So actually that's all gone to a great cause. Thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate your support. If you'd like to join them, of course, please go along to that link that is scrolling along there, patreon.com/the Lunarcast, and it would be amazing if you could spare a cup of coffee to help two old fellas out like us, which would be superb. Also, just need to say, as I do every week, this is not in any way, shape or form affiliated or licensed by Amazon or the Amazon Lunar team. So everything we say is our personal opinion. We're doing this for fun, not for personal gain. And I'm glad I got that out of the way. Now can we do some news, Dunk? Everyone's excited and really desperate to hear something.
Yes, we'll do the news. We'll kick it off.
Right. Let's change the banner. Look at that. I love doing that now. It's a new thing for me to play with. Go on then. You want to pull up yours first? You want to show yours first? You show yours and we'll show you ours.
Bang. So, could Luna be out in the wild already? I've been, over the last couple of weeks, I've been really getting into reading my Kindle and listening to a load of audiobooks, but I was having some issues this week where the Whisper Sync wasn't working too well. So I was actually looking to get some help for that. And I seem to have stumbled upon something. This wasn't me being Sherlock Holmesy, this was me being lucky. And I discovered this here, and we now have discussions around the Luna family of devices. And if we go into this, there's been a lot of questions already asked, and one of them was this.
Do you want to just zoom in a tad on that one, Dunk, so that people can read it?
Yeah, basically someone has asked, I need to put in a new code for our device.
Yeah.
And basically saying, Joshua, yeah?
It's, although that's the Amazon staff support guy, essentially. The question came from Obadiah Durham.
Yeah, and he was just replying saying, "We're sorry you're running into an issue with Luna. What does that mean? Could you please post more information for us? Are you referring to adding your Luna controller to the Luna app? Please let us know how we can assist you further."
Now, this is where it got interesting, because my initial response back to you was, well, look, Obadiah could have just been asking about a controller in a forum that's just been set up, and some guy that's got 1 million support forums to handle just has a stock answer ready to go with. But we went and had a look at the we have this one now at the Lunar controller, and I spotted, and I hadn't seen this before, that it's actually only available by invitation. I thought you could go and buy this when they announced it, but you can't. It's only available by invitation. And if you then go in and have a look at the controller and scrolly downy all the way down here, it actually tells you how you can connect the controller via the Lunar controller app on your mobile device. Now, that Lunar controller app does not currently exist on iOS or Android, so you can't do that. And yet our friend back in the support stream is actually saying, oh yeah, you've obviously got a problem with your controller. Number one, there's an assumption that controllers are out there, and we know those controllers can only be purchased by invitation. And number two, he's talking about the app that we know is not available on the app stores. Therefore, that equally has to be downloaded or installed by invitation. So what does it tell us? It doesn't tell us masses, but it does give a suggestion that there may well be some people who have got early access. And it may well be that the whole early access program is very limited. I mean, it may literally be a handful of people. We've made an assumption that, they're going to roll this out right the way across the Americas, and hundreds, if not thousands, of people can gain instant access. And of course, what we've never really thought about is maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's literally double digits or less. And then this individual clearly appears to have the controller and is being told to use the app, which is it's an assumption. It's not an absolute empirical fact, but it is something, and I think it's worth considering, that you may not get to hear in the coming days, because it may well be that it's only a very, very, very small amount of people. Potentially as well, they could be under non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. So we won't see them streaming, we won't see them blasting it across social media, and they may have had that spelled out in big black suited letters, that this is absolutely not at this stage something that they are allowed to talk about. And of course they can track it as well. I mean, there will be tracking probably built into each instance of the app. So that we found interesting. You got any more thoughts on that, Dunk?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of questions in this forum, and some of them are interesting. Some of them are just saying, well, I want to get this now. However, there is an official email address now on in the forum where you can actually contact Luna directly if you've got any issues, which I can bring up here. But it's actually great to actually see they've got this all set up straight away, and it's ready to go. And they must be expecting a load of people to start using this, because they've got it all nicely segregated out there to do it. Somebody here was asking how did they get their game onto it, and there is the Luna support email address as well.
This is a developer asking, how can I offer my game up for the platform?
Exactly. I think the Luna support email address is up and running as well. So you wouldn't think that would be up and running if there weren't people out there already trying to or playing the games. So it does.
And these aren't bots, because I mean, hope this. If you scroll back down again, sorry. Can you just pull it down a little bit for me, my friend? There you go. Hope this information might helps is very clearly an indication that this individual is, making typos like we all do. So, this isn't a bot. There's some cut and paste potentially, but it isn't a bot. And the same with the other one as well, though it was clearly written in a non-automated way. So it's our belief, our assessment that there are some people out there currently who do have access. Now, we know, of course, some streamers have had access. We mentioned this in the week because there's videos of them playing and all part of a promotional campaign. And that may well be, there's those 5 streamers have been given access and they're filmed and they got paid, and that's fine. This isn't that. This is somebody, Obadiah Durham, amazing name. It's like they've just come out of the New World game from 1413. But that is, this we presume is just an individual that has signed up to the program, to the early access program, and for whatever reason, technically, geographically, purely by chronology, who knows, they've been chosen, and here they are having an issue getting their controller to connect to the service, and they're being told they've got to use the app, which, as I say, if you have a look on Amazon, it actually does. It's hidden away in plain sight, but it tells you how that works. Number one, you download and install the Lunar controller to your mobile device, which you can't do. As I've said, it doesn't exist currently on the App Store.
Or it's got a interesting name where people don't know what it's really.
Could be, absolutely. Yes, it's got a bizarre, completely unrelated name, like 7 Puppies or something. Power up your Lunar controller with a couple of AA's. I actually found that quite a shame, to be honest with you, that we've kind of gone down the AA battery thing, but that's a whole other rat hole. Press and hold home button for 3 seconds. You'll see an orange light spin around the button. Open the Lunar controller app and follow the on-screen instructions to set up Cloud Direct. What this also implies, I think there's something we talked about as well, Duncan, is that you'll be essentially connecting your controller to your Amazon account. So it doesn't matter what device you go on, it'll always be connecting to your account and playing whatever games and saves and so on are connected to your account. You're muted. You're still muted. There you go.
Yes, I was multitasking. I was multitasking. I was thinking ahead. I was panicking about it later on. Yeah. Apparently, I'm hoping this works the way they're intended, where the controller is not per device like we get with other ones. It's going to be paired just straight to your account. So if you're playing on that and then you flick Luna onto a different device, you don't have to resync up your controller, which does make sense, that you don't have to continue to go around pairing everything. So yeah, I'm really actually looking forward to seeing this in action, just to see what all this entails.
Yeah, I'd love to think that. Yeah, it may well be that it's a kind of a they're starting off with a handful, testing that the app is working okay, and testing systems like the support, for example. I mean, for all we know, that could be a test support message from somebody working with Amazon Luna. We genuinely don't know. But testing those things out, make sure that everyone's got their processes sorted, make sure that the basics are working before they then increase it and then increase it and increase it exponentially until it becomes, turning on the faucet, as if you like, so that they gradually allow more people to get access and play with it. So it may well be, we've sort of surmised up until now that there would just be this massive turning on, and then whoosh, everybody gets an email, and it's massive all over social media. But the one that we didn't consider is the most likely, which we're seeing, I think, from this, which is actually, it's going to be a very slow, gradual build up, which of course, if you're in a testing phase, is exactly how you want to do it. You want to get your basics first. You want to make sure that all your basics, all the apps are working and they can be downloaded and people can get in and they can deal with issues like this one, and gradually ramp it up, knowing that you've got those basics covered. So yeah, fascinating. Very well found, Duncan, my friend. Very well found.
Yeah. Relevant, Sam, we'll come back to that maybe a wee bit later, or we can do it now. It's about the pros and cons from the batteries.
Well, for me, one of the cons is clearly the environment. I don't want to have to be going through 40, 50 AA's a year and then putting them up, burying them in the ground for 10,000 years of battery acid seepage. I mean, that's not great for anybody, is it? I also like the controllers that you can recharge. I know they're sucking juice out the wall. I know that's coming from a power plant somewhere, but if, like me, all of my domestic electricity, as well as actually my commercial electricity as well for my business, is all recycled energy. So I know I'm having minimum impact on the environment by taking that juice out of the wall. So being able to just put it on charge for an hour and then play with it, from purely a convenience perspective, as well as not having to throw away a load of exhausted batteries. I know you can recharge them and put them in, I get that, but it's a faff, isn't it, to coin an old English phrase. I'd much rather just pop the USB-C in there for an hour, come back, and then it's ready to go. That's my belief on it. Obviously, it's the same as an Xbox controller, as you rightly say, Relevant Sam. I had hoped they would also have changed those for the new series, next gen consoles, but clearly, for whatever reason, maybe the form factor exists in the factories, doesn't make sense to change it. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, this is a real non-issue for me, because I play on the PlayStation as well, and I play on the Xbox, and it's handy just having to plug your PlayStation in and charge it that way. But I feel like I'm constantly charging my PlayStation controller, while the Xbox, you have to have your supply of batteries in where you rip them out and put them in, along with your environmental issues. So I think there's pros and cons for both of them, and I don't. For me, it's not much of a big issue if it has batteries or it's just rechargeable.
Just the poor Earth is crying, my friend. Yeah. It's crying. You can hear it crying in the wind. Anyway, that was a row. We didn't mean to cover that one off, did we? What else have we got in the news today?
Okay, since we were talking about the controller, there was actually some interesting tweets during the week, so we'll jump to this one. It's something we already knew, but it's actually good just to get it confirmed again. And I will zoom this in a wee bit if I go to the right window, because I'm a bit of a numpty. The question was asked about the controller: does it support motion sensors, and does it have rumble? And Amazon replied that the controller does have rumble. It currently does not support motion, but we have noted this great idea to our team. So it's just confirming again that the controller is going to have rumble. So this is just a wee small update, which we sort of knew.
Kind of new as well, Dunk. If we go back and look at that page again on the Amazon.com website for the controller, you can actually see it here. Look, haptics. So vibration motors for tactile feedback during gameplay. So yeah, it's always been known. The motion stuff, the gyroscopes, to be honest, I can only think of a couple of games, thinking to my PlayStation, which is probably where it's mostly known for, where that's a thing. And I don't remember using it a great deal. I don't think I've missed the fact that I can't sort of shuffle it around and what have you. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think these are going to be earth-shattering, award-winning controllers. I think they're based, as we've seen already, they're based on a pre-existing controller for Fire Sticks for gameplay, which at that point would have been for very basic Android games in any case. And they've zhuzhed them up, as my wife says, to make them look a little bit nicer, probably just tweaked and improved them somewhat. So you're going to get, your basic controller for the system. But yeah, I think Trezoretto was saying that he spotted someone back in the summer was having an issue. Whoops, I'm in the wrong place. Here we go.
Yeah.
Somebody was testing it, Albert Pinello. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say the Xbox person who is now with Amazon. So he was checking out the competition, so to speak, which that just like Larry Herb of Xbox has also a Stadia user as well. Yep. So all the gaming industry is all nice and close together, and you use all the different stuff.
Because ultimately, and we've said this, and we've also said we will cover this off, and we will, not tonight, in a future show, we will do a kind of comparison comparison, a very neutral comparison of, you know, what's on and what's available for cloud gaming. And I think that's the key. We've said it often, Duncan. You know, we're not fanboys, we're not tribalists. We are passionate about cloud gaming. And we love the fact that there are multiple options available and becoming available, and Lunar is one of those. And it doesn't in any shape or form detract from any other cloud gaming platform that we may all love. You know, we may play regularly and subscribe to, and so on. So, you know, I think it's important to say that they will all have, they're all, I tell you what I really like, actually, just going down a small rat hole. They've all kind of got their own, they're all carving up their own little niches, their own features. You know, there's, depending on how you like to play or purchase your games, or the kinds of games that you like to play, or the places that you like to play them, they're all sort of making their space, you know, making their homes in those various spaces. So ultimately, I can imagine, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, you'll be saying, well, I've got this one and that one because I prefer to buy my games outright, or I prefer to pay a subscription, or I like the fact that Lunar has various channels, and I've got 2 or 3 studios that I adore their output and I play them all the time. So for me, having that on tap makes all the sense. Or I prefer to buy my games on PC, and therefore I like to use GeForce Now because it gives me cloud streaming access to all of my favorite PC games. You know, there's a number of options there for different people, and different strokes for different folks, as they say. But we'll cover that in a bit more detail in the future. But yep, that was one tweet that you spotted. I think you had a few tweets lined up, didn't you, mate?
Yeah, I had a couple, but we'll come to them. What was our next one? Is yes, it is another tweet, believe it or not, and it looks like I'm not 100% in this one, just the way it is worded, but I think it is worth pointing out. A question was asked: will we be able to stream to Twitch? And the response was, "Yep." And then they go on to a bit more detail and say they're basically best friends. You can watch Twitch streams from Luna, then play Luna games from Twitch. So if you're watching someone play Control badly like me, you could then click a button and then go straight into the game and play it. So that is interesting. I'm a bit more dubious in this. I sent an email to Amazon this week to chase this up. Haven't heard a responses yet. I was looking just to get 100% clarity in this, because I think this is slightly open to interpretation.
Yeah, I felt the same, actually. I think I came back to you at the time and said, I know you were looking at this from the context of being able to stream your game directly to Twitch, whereas I kind of read it more that games are available to watch on Twitch streams, and then you can play them from Twitch, which I presume means there's a button. And we know that's the case anyway, of course, because if I don't know, you've got it to hand, but we had a look at those UI examples, the user interface examples for Luna, and it clearly shows play this game, you know, and watch it on Twitch. So those two functions are already in the user interface. But I think I don't think it's a massive stretch to imagine that you will be able to stream what you're playing on Twitch. You know, we know for an absolute fact that Luna and Twitch are baked into each other. We know that because we know, for example, Lumberyard, which is the game engine that was originally based on the CryEngine, but has been substantially rebuilt from the ground up so that it hardly is anymore. But it has got Twitch. It's right at the heart of it. So when you build a game using Lumberyard, which is Amazon, as I say, it's Amazon's own free-to-use engine with no need to pay them either any kind. There's no sort of compensation required for using this. They just want you to be able to build games that work on Amazon Luna and work with Twitch, simple as. So they provide you with an engine, but you know, they are very clear in saying, yep, Twitch is very much at the heart of this. So, whatever functionality you can imagine. And I did mean, actually, and this is my bad, I found a list of the features that they talk about that are coming to games that are integrated with Twitch. I must dig it up. I'll dig it up, and we'll either go through it on Thursday in Games Quest, or we'll cover it off next Sunday.
Yeah, there's so much actually coming to Twitch because of Lumberyard. It's unreal. There's going to be, we've already seen it in games like Borderlands and Baldur's Gate 3. If you're playing on Twitch, there's all the interactive features. There's also features which allow you to jump into game. Someone's playing a game on Twitch, you can actually join that game while they're playing. That's coming as well. So there is actually so many features which are going to be quite interesting going forward to see how they're all going to be integrated into it.
It's going to be absolutely amazing. And I think one of the things that I'm really looking forward to actually is the ability to have all of that hard baked into the user interface. So you won't have to go off and find a separate Twitch app. You'll literally be able to press play and see those features in the game within Twitch, within Lunar. So, I think that's just going to be amazing.
Yep, and I think we've talked about this at the end of shows and beginning of shows, that Twitch is 100% made for gaming. So that is why it's going to be really, really interesting to see how quickly they wrap this up and how quickly everything gets integrated into Luna with it. So again, this is going to be something to keep an eye on during the week to come.
And they've had it for 6 years now. They bought it in 2014, didn't they? So, they've had a long time to play with it, which again underlines as well, by the way, and I've said this in previous shows, Luna didn't happen 6 weeks ago. They've been working on this for some years now. And in fact, the whole history of Amazon and games, which, is taken various routes and so on, but if we stick with cloud gaming, there are definite discussions about them working on a cloud gaming solution at least 2 years ago. So I think, there's a convergence out there. I think what we have to, again, going back to the point earlier about saying it doesn't, let's not get too tribal about this. I think what we have to appreciate is that cloud gaming, or gaming as a service, which is the probably better way to look at it, but certainly cloud game streaming has been on the table now for some years. When did OnLive go live, Duncan?
About 10 years ago.
Right. So for at least 10 years, for as long as the cloud has been a term where basically all the oomph, all the guts of everything is taken and whacked up on the internet, and you just have a thin client at your end that can access that stuff. All of this has been happening behind the scenes. They've just been waiting for broadband to catch up so that people get a decent connection. And this is the point of convergence right now. Yes, there are still lots of people that don't have amazing connections. What are your 5 fingers doing?
5. And what's the other word I'm going to say at the end?
5 fruit a day.
5G.
5G, yeah. Well, I mean, Apple have just pushed out the iPhone 12. It's all about the 5G. 5G has been rolling out across Europe and America. I presume, I'm sorry, I'm a bit lapsed on where it is in the world, but globally it's been rolling out. So from a mobile, and even not just mobile perspective, when you're into gigabytes or gigabits of data down a mobile, there's no more. Who needs fiber hanging around the streets and digging up your roads and so on? If you can send this stuff, from a piece of furniture, as they call it in the trade, on a lamppost every 20 meters or whatever it is. But it's all converging, and we've got to a point now where the bandwidth and the kit and the games have all kind of come. It's not perfect. We don't all have ultra fast broadband. A lot of us have capped plans so that we're limited to how much we can download data. And some of us have still got sort of, screens and kit that still struggles even when it's just being streamed. But it's all at the forefront. It's all moving away from that now. And across the world, we're seeing a lot more people being, let's put it a different way. we've now got enough people that have access to fast broadband, uncapped plans, and kit to make a market. And that's when the big boys move in.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's so many things going on now. It's just a matter of time before this really takes off. And again, I think it's going to be a discussion for another day. Which markets do you think they're going to target? Like on different shows, me and you we're in agreement that there's a couple of big key markets, with India being a massive one, and Brazil is another massive market where I think there's going to be extreme competition. And I think Amazon in particular here could be in a, I know it's going to sound funny because where's the Amazon rainforest in Brazil? But I think
yes. The Amazon River.
Yeah. They're going to be in a particularly good spot there because of the game prices out there, because they're going to be using a subscription model. So there's so many balls up in the air with every single major gaming provider here. You just do not know who is going to take over here. Yep, and Starlink as well.
Another satellite went up today, didn't it? I saw Tresurrector getting all excited on Twitter. Lots of claps. Exciting stuff.
It is exciting stuff, because that's another thing which is going to lower the barriers for everybody to actually get internet. And then if you've got internet, you can do cloud gaming. It's just amazing just how everything is just going a million miles an hour now.
Yeah, and so many people say, "Oh yeah, but I'm happy with my console. I'm happy with my PC." That's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. This isn't about replacing. Not at this stage. No one's going to turn around tomorrow and say, "Yeah, we're reducting the kit. Sorry, guys. Next Thursday, we're taking our PlayStations off the shelf." That's not going to happen for years. This is just an alternative option at a growing market, and once you've tested it and tried it, you'll appreciate that actually it's very, very solid. And I'm not saying it's esports quality yet. I'm not saying that you would be able to go into a tournament and have that kind of latency that you crave. But those guys have got ridiculous setups with zero latency and unbelievable refresh rate monitors and stuff. I mean that is so left field in terms of their requirements that it's pointless even considering that. But for the bulk of people, I promise you, if you go and have a play with a decent cloud gaming setup, you will be amazed, particularly if you do the taste test, the Pepsi challenge, and they don't tell you that you're playing on cloud gaming. I've done that. I've had a relative of mine come around. We played Destiny, and I said, "Oh yeah, I've got a new system. Have a play with this." He's like, "Yeah, it feels really good. Looks good on the screen. Wow, this is amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Stadia." He's like, "Oh, right, okay." And that's the thing, but it doesn't matter. I was playing GeForce Now earlier today. I actually played Destiny on GeForce Now earlier today because I've been having an issue, Duncan. Nobody can see me when I go live in Destiny. I saw Duncan in Destiny earlier playing, and I thought, "Oh, great, I'll jump in." I jumped in, I couldn't see him, and I knew he couldn't see me. And somebody told me, "Yeah, you've got your privacy set to be invisible." So I went through everywhere that I've got Destiny installed: PC, Xbox Game Pass, Stadia, PlayStation, everywhere, and I was set fully to public. So I've failed miserably. But I was on all those systems, and again, perfect. Honestly, it's in another league to where it was a few years ago. If your experience of cloud gaming is playing, I don't know, PS Now a couple of years ago, for example, 720, laggy as anything, not a very friendly or comfortable experience, then you're absolutely forgiven for thinking that was something you'd never want to experience again. But that is so last year. I mean, genuinely, that's not even 1.0. If that was 1.0 in cloud gaming, we're about, I don't know, 7.5 right now. It's massively improved. So, that's where we're going. And that's why the future ultimately will, for convenience, for price, for location, will belong with cloud gaming. But that does not mean that you will have to give up playing in all the other places that you like playing with, all the people that you've enjoyed playing with. And that's why we don't get tribal about it, because you can do whatever you want. And that's the beauty of a system like this.
Yeah. Again, today, like you said, I was playing Destiny today, and it just makes you appreciate the cloud gaming. And you can just go through your library. I was actually having a good wee play today, and I was picking games which I haven't played in a long time, and I didn't have to worry about anything. I was just jumping straight in and just bang, you're going. With Luna, with the subscription model, you're going to be there. We already know there's 72 games on their way during early access. Any one of them, you're jumping straight into, and then you've got the Ubisoft channel on top of that if you subscribe, which is another 50 games. So
at least
50 games. I think if you've never played cloud gaming before, I think it is going to be a real eye opener for you, because it is hard to go back because of lots of the no patching, the no downloads. It's brilliant. It's more going forward. It is going to be more managing space rather than anything else. It is just going to be really interesting. It's going to be really fun, and that's not taken away from the other platforms, because they're going to have their strengths. There's no 100% perfect solution out there. Me and you had a discussion during the week about this, but this is going to be a great option for a lot of people.
It certainly is. Now, I've just flicked up games up there because we kind of went down that road anyway. And Duncan, you discovered, well, again, Duncan is honestly, he's like the Sherlock Holmes of Northern Ireland. Don't you let those glasses and dodgy headset fool you, folks. This man is a sleuth. You found a new game, or at least one that hadn't been mentioned in the let me see, here we go, that hadn't been mentioned before, although again it's kind of been there in plain sight.
Yeah, basically we've been given these this out for everything. What games are coming to Luna Plus? Luna. The game you're highlighting there in 2 Point Hospital isn't on any of the lists, but it is there in plain sight with what you can see there, and that. I absolutely love that game, and I was actually meant to do a stream of that yesterday as a little tease, but I got absolutely wrecked. But yeah, it is a real good game which you can just sit down and have a laugh with all the people destroying your hospital which you're trying to make. Absolutely brilliant fun. It's from it's basically Theme Hospital, but updated to for now.
Yeah, I was interesting that, again, you spotted it. It was brilliantly done, but it isn't on the list of original 50, and it isn't on the extra 22 that were published recently either. Yet there it is on Amazon.com/Luna/landing page, which is the site where they're promoting Luna in these screens. So we have to assume that it either was, is, or will be coming to Luna Plus, because these are Luna Plus games we're seeing here. This is your $5.99 assortment. Oh no, I lie. Valhalla is not your $5.99. These are just games. I fibbed. Sorry about that, folks. But a lot of these are certainly the $5.99 Luna Plus games, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Basically, all of them bar Valhalla there, unless there's going to be a Sega channel. Let's put that out there. Oh, can you imagine all the Sega games there? You've got Fantasy Star.
I've got one. Here it comes. Speculation.
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 I say, oh, sorry, there's Watch Dogs. I've just seen Watch Dogs there as well. Could there be a Sega channel? Because they do have a load of games there which could go onto that. So they could
definitely, yeah. And they've always said as well that they could do genre channels. So you could see. Oh, I don't know what I've said this before. Sports, I guess, is an obvious one. I'm not quite sure how that would work from a revenue split perspective. Of course, if you've got a channel full of different studios with their various offerings. unless they all had their own separate channels as well within the Lunarverse. There you go. I'm coining that one, folks. You heard it here first. The Lunarverse. Well,
yeah,
quite proud of that one.
Yeah, what I can actually say is, go for it. Go for the speculation. You may get some games from other channels to tempt you so for example, you get like some of the old Assassin's Creeds in Luna Plus to maybe tempt you to get into the main Ubisoft channel and things like that. I can see that happening. So yeah, it's going to be real fun how this is all going to pan out. So
it is, and I mean, look, we can't make any apologies for it, Duncan. We don't have a lot of oxygen at the moment to put shows together with, but we think we're finding stuff that's quite useful for you. And they may be tiny little things, but they are bits of news, and you ain't finding them anywhere else, folks. This is your number one Lunar podcast.
Exactly. We are out there looking for anything Luna going, and we are finding bits and bobs. So hopefully we're going to find a lot more going forward here as well.
Now, as we have it here on this smorgasbord of games, our final piece of news today, Dunk, is Assassin's Creed mention is coming to Luna. We know that there's a Ubisoft channel, and we've assumed that that's going to include all of their top games. But you found something actually on the Ubisoft site, didn't you, which was quite interesting.
Yeah, it's basically just saying Assassin's Creed Valhalla is also coming to Xbox Series X, S, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Stadia, and will be playable on Amazon Luna alongside the launch of the Ubisoft channel. So again, they're pushing the Ubisoft channel on Luna. So this is just another thing, just to say Ubisoft is 100% on board.
And it's the wording that I found interesting here, being a little bit of a wordsmith. They've simply said it's coming to those other channels, and then Amazon Luna's got a whole sentence to itself. Well, it's not a whole sentence, it's got a whole half a sentence to itself, and will be playable on Amazon Luna alongside the launch of the Ubisoft channel. Now, you initially said, this means it must be launching the same time as Valhalla. And I said, no, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that it's you will be able to play it. But it's an interesting word. Why would you say alongside the launch? Alongside the launch, other than, well, when we do launch the channel, alongside that launch, you'll also be able to play Valhalla. In other words, could be any time.
Yeah, I can see Ubisoft really pushing this going forward, their channel, because it's just going to reduce barriers to get people on to play. You don't need a PC to play. You don't need a PlayStation. You've heard about this amazing new Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You can just click here and play, and you also get access to these 50 other games. They're going to be pushing this a lot. It's going to be really interesting I don't want to go down speculation road again.
Speculation.
Which service are going to be pushing more? Is it going to be Uplay Plus, or is it going to be the Ubisoft channel? Because they've got multiple streams for the Uplay Plus, and then you're going to have this Luna channel. It's going to be see where they're going to place Luna in the wording when this is fully out.
Yeah, and they have, they're sticking religiously to calling it a Ubisoft channel, even though it sounds, it sounds and smells and feels like Uplay Plus. They're sticking very much to what is the, it's the mantra, it's the brand aspect, if you like, of Amazon Luna, this channel model. So, they're being good boys. They're sticking very vehemently to what they've been told. Do not put a plus at the end of this. It's a Ubisoft channel, and they're clearly working that way through. But it does, to all intents and purposes, smell like Uplay Plus, doesn't it, Doug?
It's Uplay Plus without the Uplay Plus. It's 100% Uplay Plus. So Again, me being me, I just want to see where they're going to line this up when it comes out. Where they're going to play. Is it going to be last or is it going to be first? It's going to be brilliant fun this going forward. Again, it's just so exciting that we can sit here and talk about all these different games coming to all these different cloud gaming places. It's just brilliant, and each of them have their own perks. I just can't wait for us all to kick off.
We are your #1 source for Lunarcast news, views, and reviews, folks. At the moment, we can absolutely say that. There's nobody else. And we hope we're doing Lunar. We hope we're doing Amazon. If you're watching, and we do hope you are, we hope we're doing you justice. We are. We're trying to be really good with this, aren't we, Dunk? So get in touch. Right. Okay. What else have we got today? The next, well, we're going to come out of news a bit now, aren't we? Where we're going to sort of have a little look while we're kind of towards the top of the hour. Just bear in mind as well, guys, when we finish the show, so when we do the outro, we will come back for an AMA, which is good fun. We've enjoyed doing those, actually. We had some great conversations and discussions. So if you do see the outro, as I call it, don't log off. Stay around and let's have a chat and talk about our thoughts in a bit more detail, and hopefully you maybe have some questions as well. So now,
I thought it wasn't. I didn't know you were waiting for me to say something there. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Well, you know me. If there's a space, I'll fill it. It's not an issue at all.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd finish up today, having a look at Amazon Game Studios. We touched on them a little earlier. I have a soft spot for these guys, Duncan, because they have been quietly working away behind the scenes. As I've said, they've built a game engine which is freely available for anybody, and you or I, or anybody in the chat or listening or watching this, can go and download it now, completely free. Any games that you develop using it, no cost. You don't have to pay them a royalty. If you make your absolute fortune from that game, it'd be nice to say, thank you guys, but they're not expecting money. That's unlike any other game engine out there. And it's actually really good. It uses, excuse me, it's got you build games visually. I've forgotten the technical term. So you don't have to be a mega code head either. If you've got any idea of a game, you can just jump in. It uses Lua, and it uses a proprietary language as well, I believe. It might be C++, I forget. But basically, yeah, you can do some pretty amazing stuff with Lumberyard, it's called. But they've been working on games anyway now for a few years, haven't they, Duncan? And they've got, let me see, I might as well pull up one I've got here.
Yeah, they've been working away for a number of years now, and they've been picking up a number of studios as well. And over the last couple of months as well, they've actually made a couple of deals as well. We were touching that later, but you've got this up now. So I know you've been researching this a lot, so I'll let you kick this off there.
Well, a little bit. No, I mean, I was going to read this because I think this is quite important. So Amazon Games is growing talented teams in Washington, California, New York, London, Munich, and other places. Although their main studios, the three of them, is Relentless, which is based in Seattle, I believe. They're the guys behind, sadly, the doomed Crucible. But they're working on other projects now, of course, as well. They've got the Amazon Games team in Orange County in California. They're working on New World and Lord of the Rings. And then they've got their team in San Diego who are working on unannounced projects. Well, we know one of them is Pac-Man Live Studio, amongst others. So, it's not a small setup. They have got at least these are the three main hubs, but clearly they've got guys around the world in smaller teams or working with third-party studios all over the shop, working on some quite interesting stuff. We don't know that all of it's going to be for Luna, but I think it's a fairly safe bet to assume that if Amazon have defined and decided to have its own platform, then you're going to see a lot of these purposed for Luna, and if also potentially for other platforms as well, PC predominantly. So certainly stuff to look forward to. And out of those, Dunk, New World, I've said that before to you. I've played that a couple of times. Absolutely loved it. I mean, there was some aspects of it that you thought could be improved, but I have to say, between the first time I played it and the second time, which was probably about 6 weeks difference, it had leapfrogged in terms of quality. The user interface was much easier and much prettier than initially when I played it. So I could see them working really, really hard to build this. And what it is it's an MMO RPG. It's a massive open world, multiplayer experience, role-playing game, as you've said so many times, a game as a service. It's built for this kind of a platform. You just log in and every day there's a ton of stuff to do. You can go in and do it with your mates, your friends, your pals, if you want to, or you can just go in and kick about. And one of the things I really liked about New World, actually, which I have not seen, I think probably the closest to its Division 2 or Division 1 as well, you have to set a flag that allows you or allows other people to attack you in a kind of player versus player way. So if you're not into PvP and in Division, it's the Dark Zone. I liked the idea of the Dark Zone, but I didn't like being beaten up every time I went in there and having my stuff nicked. Well, here in New World, you don't have to. If you want to go and explore the world and do your side quests and your main missions and discover stuff and Easter eggs and everything else, you just set your flag so that you don't get attacked by other people. And what I did find was, initially I forgot I had that thing turned off and I was getting killed everywhere I went. But once you turned it on, it's amazing how many people would just jump in and help you to do stuff, which was great. I don't know much about Lord of the Rings. Have you been following a lot of info on Lord of the Rings?
No, I just know they're building it at the moment, so it's getting there anyway. Again, I think we touched on this on Thursday, where I think it's going to be a tie-in to the Lord of the Rings TV series, which they've got the rights to it as well. So I think they're going to be Lord of the Rings stuff. Well, will be coming at maybe at once, just to have it all tied in together. Again. Touching on this as well, Amazon have actually entered into a publishing agreement with Smilegate RPG, which is a Korean developer, and they're going to be the exclusive. It's an exclusive publishing agreement for North America and Europe. So it looks like Amazon are going to be pushing for the Western market here initially, anyways, with this move. So Amazon are really trying to get the content out there, and it's going to, as we say every time, content is king, and that is what is going to bring people to the service. And Amazon are really pushing it, and games as a service are obviously a real good way of getting people to constantly play your game, because you're always dipping in and out, and we are going down that way, and cloud services are the best for that going forward, because you don't ever have to update it and you can just jump in, jump out. So if there's a big update, say New World gets this 20 gig patch, you just go straight in, straight out again, and there you go. You don't have to worry about that. I don't think people realize how much of a big deal that is until you actually see it. They could put in a new expansion which you really love and you haven't played it for years. You just jump straight back into the game. It is going to be brilliant. Cloud gaming is brilliant that way.
And this is Pac-Man Live Studio, which you brought to my attention a little while ago. I had it slipped under my radar. But this is a sort of a build your own Pac-Man, isn't it? So you can create your own mazes and then offer them out to your pals, which of course is perfect to integrate with Twitch.
Exactly, that's what you're going to see. Your big streamers are going to be doing this, and they're going to get fans to make their levels for them to do that. It's going to be just so much. Again, everything is just converging into one here, where everything's just going to become into a blur. Gamers are going to become game makers and setting challenges for streamers, and people watching because they're getting set by challenges by their audience. Everything is just closing in, and everything is becoming like a perfect circle. So as you can see here, it's a nice, easy way to actually do it. I think it's actually going to be pushing Twitch more than Luna, but I think it's, if you know it's there, you would think that's going to be integrated into Luna somehow.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, it's difficult because we haven't seen it mentioned, and in fact, I think if you make your way around the Amazon Games website, you will struggle to find the word Luna mentioned anywhere. But I don't think that's an indication that they're not working on games that will work with Luna. I think that would be sacrilege, quite frankly, to have invested so much money in developing games and then not to bring it together with your own cloud gaming solution. And I'm absolutely convinced that that won't be the case. So yeah, no, that's all good. I would love it if they'd had more information on the Lord of the Rings game, but clearly that one is by license. We know it's there by license. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't even know if it's an RPG or, I mean, it could be a turn-based game. I mean, it could be a whole number of different, like an Age of Empires thing, couldn't it, I suppose? It could be a whole number of different things. We just don't know, do we?
No, I think it's going to be an RPG. I think that's a safe bet. It's an RPG. But apart from that, I'm not sure at all. I think we're going to find out shortly, or maybe next year. We might get it. Going back to New World, I think everybody, a lot of people were thinking when New World launches, I think that's when Luna is coming out big style. I think the timescales, our assumed timescales would sort of line up with that. And I think people would be thinking that as well. It'll be a big exclusive game for the service, which pulls people in, and people that have heard about New World. And people are excited. I know some people, like Cloud Gaming Extreme, thinks it's just okay, but
I loved it. I loved thousands of games. I am perfectly in a position to give my opinion. I think that look, I guess it depends what you were hoping for, what you were expecting to be there. I'm not a PvP person. It's not a thing I particularly enjoy. I'm an explorer. You know that, Duncan. Games for me where I can just walk in a straight line and discover stuff. I'm like, the proverbial animal in its own thing, and I'm happy as anything for that. If PvP is your thing and you were really looking forward to beating the crap out of raiding and stuff, then yeah, I think it's got some way to go on that front. But for me, the basics were good enough. I played probably about 30 to 40 hours of this game in its beta stage, beta 1 and beta 2, and I literally, when you get a game gets right under your skin and you can't wait to wake up the next day and jump back in and get in and do stuff and achieve stuff. That's what this game did for me. I was gutted that it was put back to April, but I do think, and we've said this before as well, speculation that this was, largely to line it up with the release of official Luna sometime next year. There you go. Thank you for that. I was trying to find it. Speculation. But right. Okay. It's all good stuff. We could talk forever because that's what we do. But I do think we, for the sake of our lovely podcast listeners, ought to come to a conclusion now. As I've said, if you guys want to hang around, we can talk more, answer some questions, get a bit more speculative. More than happy to do that. Are you happy with that, Duncan? Or have you got anything else that you'd like to say to folks before we go?
No, that was it. Same time, same place. Every Sunday, 7 p.m. UK, 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 11 a.m. Pacific, and that's the same for Thursdays now as well. I think we'll try and keep it the same time. Anytime we go live, we'll try and keep it at the same time so we don't get confused because we're old men.
Yeah, we almost went. I say we. You almost went live last night, didn't you? At 7 o'clock for our time, just to do some game streaming. That's one thing we will be doing in the future. And we were going to kind of run a little test, a little pilot show of streaming 2 Point Hospital, which is the game we mentioned earlier in news, is coming, but not mentioned any of the lists. So look out for that as well. They're more likely to be more random than the other two, but absolutely Game Quest every Thursday, same time as this one, and of course the Lunarcast every Sunday at this time. Duncan, where can people find you in the week if you're not sleuthing your way around the web?
You can find me at One2Escape on Twitter.
Excellent.
And where can we find you, Young Rock?
You can find us both at the Lunarcast on Twitter, the lunarcast.com website, and of course, if you join our Patreon, then we'll be sending content. You will get things like our news there early, because that's what we intend to do. So just to remind you folks, for the sake of being boring, that's patreon.com/the Lunarcast. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. It's always so great to see you guys in the chat, showing us support. Hopefully, who knows what we'll have to bring this time next week. You never know, but one thing we can guarantee you is it will not be boring. Say goodbye, Duncan.
Goodbye, Duncan.
Take care.